So today we were going to do More Than a Verse, episode 2, but right now there's just something on my heart, on my spirit. I feel like I'm picking up on someone who is really just struggling with where they're at right now. And I understand those challenges. So we're going to talk about imposter syndrome because I've gone through that before. Many people have gone through that before. Some of you haven't gone through it yet. You may go through it at some point. But it's just an obstacle that we need to work through because it really isn't about what's happening right now, but more so about what's happening internally. And I want to help you with that because imposter syndrome isn't about a particular thing, but how we view that thing. And so you may be in this position of trying to figure out, should I stay doing what I'm doing? Or should I really explore the fact that maybe this is something that someone has convinced me, sold me on, that just really isn't aligned with who I am or isn't aligned with my personal standards and morals, or, you just feel like something's off and you're trying to figure out what that is. So let's talk about it. Before I started my own business, started the Better Version, and mind you, this is probably like the second or third iteration of what has become the Better Version. I was in life insurance and I was an independent life insurance agent. So basically what that meant is that I was affiliated with a company who had, let's call it, connections with different insurance companies across the country. And by my affiliation with them, I was able to procure a contract with these different insurance companies across the country. Why was that a good thing? And I felt it was a positive thing as opposed to just working for one particular insurance company. It was giving me the leg up on being able to provide options for my clients. We all know that it's not one size fits all. Every family goes through different things. Every family has different needs. And so me being able to provide for every different kind of family was the bonus for me. So when I started this business and I became an agent, I was shocked by how quickly I adapted, knowing that you're dealing with numbers, you're dealing with money, all this stuff. Math is not my strong suit. But nonetheless, I adapted very, very quickly. And I was surprised at how quickly I adapted to even some of the software that's being used, how to understand it. I don't want to get too long-winded, but it is to say that I adapted very quickly to much of my surprise. The challenge that came along with being an agent is really where the imposter syndrome came in, and that was finding clients and being able to sit down and really explain to them the importance of having a safety net and leaving something behind for their family. I don't want to go into all the lingo, but just to give you a clear view of what was, holding me back, if you will. It really was that. And as much as I knew the theoretical stuff and knew it well, was able to explain it, there was a part of me that felt like people weren't going to take me seriously because it's something that is so kind of left field, outside of what people know me to be. And I really struggled. And another area, and this is something that you may be dealing with that is really amplifying your imposter syndrome, is the people around you who are supposed to be mentors to you and supporters of you, who really just give you the bare minimum. when all you want to do is succeed. And I'm just that type of individual. I don't, forgive me for saying it this way, I don't half-ass anything. I come in with all the passion in my heart, all the energy. And so when people give you the bare minimum, but yet talk to you as though they want the most for you and from you, that is hard. So let me give you the biggest element without going too far on a tangent, because trust me, we could talk about this for an hour. But the biggest element had to do with coming in, like right before I came into this industry. I had already had my mind and my heart set on being a coach of some form or counseling, something of that nature. I truly believe that is what God has called me to. And so that's how I serve, basically. And right before that, as I was sharing this passion of mine, if you will, with those around me, I was being pulled in so many different directions. And I landed in financial services. Oh, this is great to know. The information that you're providing to families is important. Having a safety net, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And I say this not sarcastically, because it is true. At the same time, I'm just saying it from a place of retrospect, where I was being pulled into an area of service, being told that I could coach people in this arena. So yeah, it falls right in line with, what it is that you're talking about. I was sold the dream. And I'm not saying this, again, to be facetious about the people involved or what have you, or the company. I'm not even going to say what the company is. It's still a great company. I think there are a lot of amazing people there, but it just was not for me. And so as I was there, yes, I was sharing all the information. Yes, I was always passionate about the meetings that I held. Yes, I was always enthusiastic sitting down with families. But at the end of the day, there was just something there that wouldn't allow me to move forward. And so I'm sharing this with you because if you are experiencing that, I want to invite you to take a moment to just step back and evaluate what's in front of you. Is this what you are meant to do? Because if it's what you're meant to do, then this is just a growing pain that you're going through and nothing more, right? And I went through growing pains within that company. Growing pains in life, period, right? We're all going through them at some point. If this really is a question of alignment, I really want you to take a spot out of your day sometime this week and sit down and evaluate why you're not doing what God has put on your heart to do. Because I'll tell you this, you're struggling with something. It might not be imposter syndrome. It's probably something that's making you feel like an imposter. And the reason why it's making you feel like an imposter is because that's not what you're supposed to be doing. But it's not because you, the person, are fake. You are not fake. You're just in a spot that you don't need to be in. But here, before I start getting on my soapbox and preaching, I'll tell you this. Even if you're in the wrong place, God is so amazing that he will take everything that's happening to you right now and turn it into something positive. And that's, I have that testimony. I don't know why I'm having a hard time talking today. I think it's because somebody doesn't want me to get this message out. But here's the thing. Speaking of that business that I was in, I took that moment to sit back and say, okay, why am I here? Like, why am I doing this? What am I struggling with? And I had to be completely honest with myself. And sometimes that honesty really hurts. because you don't want to face what's hurting you. And what I was dealing with was still working through validation from others. If you've heard my story before, I've mentioned it. I wasn't really affirmed as a child. And so all the confidence building, all the self-worth and self-esteem I had to do essentially on my own. But it was hell going through that. And so if this is about seeking approval from the people who mean the most to you, don't. And I get it. You almost feel like you're asking for permission from some people. I felt like I was asking permission from my mom to be me, which sounds crazy, but that's what I was doing. So I want you to think about that. So I say all of this and make it sound easy. It is on paper, but in actuality, it can be challenging. Not impossible, just challenging. So let me list 3 reasons why you don't get support from the people you believe care about you. And number 3 is a doozy. So we're going to spend some time on number 3. But the first one is easy. They just don't like you. They're a hater, straight up hater. Well, we don't have anything to do with haters, right? We know that haters are going to hate, so it doesn't even matter what you say or do or how you flip it, they're going to hate. So leave them alone. Number 2 is basically where people feel accountable for what they're not doing, or don't want to feel accountable for what they're not doing. So every time you post something, every time you're being consistent, every time that you celebrate a milestone or a victory or what have you, it reminds them of what they're not doing. And they don't like that. They don't like being called out, even though you're not calling them out. They see it as you calling them out. That, you can't fix that. That's an inside job, so don't even worry your pretty little head about it. You gotta treat them like how you treat the haters. Forget about them. But number 3 can really catch you off guard and can really hurt your feelings once you realize it. And that is, those people in question are afraid of how they will be perceived if they support you. In other words, if you've got people in your life that, you share mutual friends or you're a friend group or whatever, but you don't necessarily realize that they speak about you behind your back, that they low-key hate on everything that you do, they're jealous of you, what have you, but that friend is aware of it. The reason why that friend will never like on your post, will never comment, will never say, congratulations or what have you, is because that friend is afraid of what those people will think, say, or even do to them if they found out they were supporting you. So it's not about you, it's about them. And that one can really hurt, because when you and say Mary are speaking in private, she's got all the praise for you, all the energy. But when she gets around that friend group, quiet as a church mouse. So I forgot a bonus one. And this is so real to me right now. If you're not on the team, if you're not on the same team, we don't know you. You are not like us. They do the Mariah Carey, I don't know her. So check this out. Again, this really is a them problem. It's not a you problem, it's a them problem. And that has to do with the mentality of, well, if you're not going to do what we're doing, then I know, childish and petty, but people act that way. And they feel like this is how their ego operates. They feel if they don't throw a like on something, it means they play a part in slowing down momentum for you. How? I'm so sorry to laugh out loud like that, but I just don't see how that's logical. You not liking something is going to slow down my momentum. You're not the only human being on the planet, but okay, sure. And so even though they may have that mentality, they will still watch you because at the end of the day, they want to see how far you get. Again, it's like this tug of war of love hate. They love you in the sense that, they know you have the ability to succeed, but they hate the fact that you're doing it without them. And that's really all it is. So that's why I say it's a them problem, because it's about how they perceive it, how they feel about it, and what kind of impact it will have. Because if they can't celebrate with you, if they can't get some semblance of credit in it, then they're upset. So I'm so sorry. But look, I know I got a group of people who be watching me every single day. As long as I got a story, a post, or a reel, they're watching. And my message to y'all is it's fine. Y'all can watch, y'all can say what you want to say, you can feel what you want to feel. It's okay with me. I'm not angry, I'm not bitter, I don't hold no grudge. It really takes a lot for me to get to that place. And because I'm so grounded in God, it's almost impossible to get me there. Because I know who my creator is and I know where my identity lies. And that was the biggest shift for me last year. And so I hope that this helps and that you gain a deeper understanding of what's going on with you. So let me close it out like this. In as much as I went through what I went through going into that industry and experiencing the things that I experienced, because mind you, I should have started this business right before things kicked off in 2020, but I didn't. I walked into financial services. It wasn't in vain. It really wasn't in vain. I met some wonderful people who have taught me a lot. I've met some awful people who have taught me a lot. The challenges that I went through taught me a lot. The things that I learned taught me a lot. Like everything served its purpose. Everything served its purpose. So I don't want you to view your challenges and your setbacks as, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna get there. Like, I don't want you talking to yourself like that. Look at it as something to build upon. If you work out, think of it as building muscle. These are the things that you are likely going to need in a future situation, in a future scenario. You just don't know it yet. And I'm telling you out of experience, I never imagined myself to be sitting here doing these types of videos and putting them on YouTube, putting them on all my social media platforms, because I was so like, oh my God, what are people going to think? That it would paralyze me. But I had to go through what I went through in order to get to this place where now I can inspire you, where I can motivate you and encourage you to take your own assessment, self-reflect, do what you need to do so that you can continue to put one foot in front of the other. So look, I don't want to ramble on. I hope that, this was well received in the sense that you've gotten something out of this. And look, maybe next week we'll do more than a verse. But until then, you guys take care. Stay grounded in God. Stay grounded in what He's called you to. Trust me, you will see the highs. You will also see the challenges. Nobody said this life was going to be easy. But fulfillment and contentment in doing what God has called you to do is really where it's at. All right? You guys take care. Peace.